Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session of Digital Education. Today, we're going to look at service records. So let me introduce you to Judi Newborn, the IWNZ New Zealand Secretary, who will talk us through everything to do with service records. Here you go, Judi.
Thank you very much, Michelle, and welcome everybody. But keep all your fingers crossed that my connection keeps going. Anyway, welcome to a small training session on service records. And I know for most of you, the minute that those words are said, you all kind of go into lockdown and you just kind of turn off because most of you find them quite difficult. So I'm sorry about that, but hopefully after today, you will have a much better insight into them. So a bit of history. In April 2015, IWNZ New Zealand became incorporated as a charitable trust. This was done by two ladies, a lot of hard work, Carol Haig and Hazel Hunter, and we forever thank them. Now, this was important to us in two ways. Firstly, it meant that all IWNZ New Zealand clubs came under the IWNZ New Zealand banner, which meant that no single member could be responsible or held responsible for anything done by IWNZ New Zealand, and that included any debts. So IWNZ New Zealand is its own legal entity. But secondly, and more importantly, it meant that IWNZ New Zealand was no longer subject to tax. And that meant that every single cent that you raise for charity goes to those charities. None of it has to be paid over in tax, which is what happened previously. So that was incredibly important. However, and I'm sorry, there is always a but. However, to maintain our charitable status, we have to produce an annual report that is sent to the Charities Commission, and it reports on all the charitable work done throughout the year by all the clubs. And how do we do this? We do it from the information that you send in your service records, which are compiled by me. Luckily, next year will be compiled by Helen. And I have to do them in one day because the deadline for your records is the 31st of May. And the deadline for getting all this information to the national president for her report is also the 31st of May. So it's a big ask, but it's something that actually I love doing because it really highlights everything that we do for charity, which is incredible. And I'll show you all of that later. So some people ask me what to record. Everything. You basically need to record everything you do for charity, whether it's money you've raised or just the time you've taken to do something. So if you've manned a stand and you've spent 25 hours, 5 of you, 5 hours, that's fine. The volunteer hours are just as important as the money you raise. And obviously on the service records, you're quite capable of putting down your big projects that you do as a club. But just as important is the work your members do individually to help with charitable works on their own. For example, and I know it's a cliche, but knitting. We all knit for charity. Our club knits up a storm. And how do you record that? Well, there's various ways you can do it, and every club does it differently. Our club just sends a sheet round every month, but I know a lot of clubs have a little booklet. And that's sent round the club at meetings, and every member lists down what they have done for charitable in Inner Wheel's name over the past month or since they last filled it in. And that is then collated together to produce an end of year result, which is huge. If you've got 10 members who are knitting most weeks, by the time you've finished that at the end of the year, you've got a vast amount of knitting done. And it's all genuine and it's all charity money that you have done. So who in your club looks after the record? That's entirely up to you, but my suggestion would be the ISO, International and Service Organizer. Their job is service, and it's something that they can keep and make sure that the records are up to date. Perhaps in your club, it's easier for the secretary to do it. Again, it's completely up to you how you, I've got a visitor again, go away, how you deal with that. It's a very much an individual thing, but my suggestion would be that it's your ISO. Now, when you do these records, I would very strongly suggest you do not wait till the end of the year, because trying to remember what you've done or sitting and going through all the minutes or, you know, how many hours did we do that for is very difficult. Excuse me, I'm just going to move the blind. I've got stripes now. Oh, I've still got stripes. Never mind. So do it as it comes along and fill in the form. And when we get the online form going, that's going to be even easier to do. Because you do a project, you go onto the website, get the form, you fill in what you've done, and it's saved. And at the end of the year, all that information is collated together, and we can see exactly what's been happening. Now, for things like yearly knitting, that can be dealt with differently. Either you store that up and then just do that at the end of the year, or you've got your line on your form and you just keep adding to it. So somebody in one month you've got 200 hours, the following month you've got 150, just add them together, 350 hours. So there's ways around everything. But it is important to fill it in as you go. Otherwise, come the end of the year, it's just, I don't know what we've done. Do you remember what we've done? No. And it is vitally important that we have this information. So the form, let's take a look at it. I'm going to share my screen with you all, and we can have a look at the form. Well, where are we? Here we go. Okay, can you all see that, ladies? So the first thing is to note is that the service record does not run to the Inner Wheel year. It runs from the 1st of June to the 31st of May. There's nothing we can do about that. That's set by the Charities Commission. That's when they need the information. So you've got to remember that the first month of 1 year is added to your current year for this purpose. We have various columns. So there's the name of the charity and the club or club project that you're doing. The brief details of the charity or activity that you're doing. The club, district, national or international project is what this project is being dealt with. So if it's a club project, you put in club. For example, if you're doing something for Look Good, Feel Better, then it's a national project because it comes under that banner. Your volunteer hours are how many hours you spend doing something. There should always, unless you're doing a donation from the charity account, there should always be something in that, because you all spend a lot of time doing this work. You may not know the number of recipients, but if you've knitted 10 beanies, then you know you're going to give those to 10 people. So most of the time you probably don't know how many recipients are going to be helped, but in some instances it's very clear. And then the money, so the total dollar value of goods donated, everything has a value. I can't stress that enough. So if you've got a whole load of, I'm going to talk about knitting because it's something that runs through most people's work. You've been donated 50 balls of wool. You're going to knit those up into whatever you need. That wool has a value. And most people who knit can estimate how much a ball of wool is worth and put that down. So if you've got 50 balls of wool at $5, $250. Everything has a value and it must go in that column. The next column is the total amount of money, less the expenses. So if you have a sausage sizzle and you made $1,000, but you spent $250 on the sausages, then you only made $750. And then the very last column is the actual amount that you gave to the charity of your choice. So let's have a go at filling some of this in to give you, oh, sorry, just before I do that, the charities headings that are on this form. So we've got rights of the child, family, status of women, aging, narcotic drugs, and the current social project, Strong Women, Stronger World. They are not set by us either. They're set by the United Nations, of which we are a part. And that's why we have these columns. Now, if you have something that you feel goes into two, just pick one. Don't put things into both columns, both headings. So let's try filling some of this in just to give you an idea. I hope you're all still with me. So the first one is fundraisers. This seems to confuse a lot of people. But for fundraising, you're not working for a specific charity. So this section here doesn't ever get completed. What you're doing is you're just raising money to put in your charity account. So let's put something in that we've already mentioned. Whoa, what have I done? Come back, thank you. So let's put something in I've already mentioned. Let's hold a sausage sizzle. So we're doing that for the club. We had 5 ladies who spent 3 hours manning the sausage sizzle. So 3 5s, they did 15 hours. Number of recipients, well, you could fill that in because you knew how many sausages you sold, but my guess would be just to put unknown in there. I can't spell. There we go. So no goods were given, and I can't see the end of that because it's, oh, there we go. I'm going to say we made $1,000, but we spent money on the sausages was $250, so we made $750. And it's as simple as that. So again, maybe we had a movie night. It was for the club. We had 3 volunteer hours because it was really just selling raffle tickets. There were 40 seats in the cinema, so we benefited 40 people. And we made $400, but we had to pay for the movie theatre, so we made $200. So we have there $950 that's gone into our charity account. We don't know what we're going to spend it on yet. We may not decide that till the end of the year, or we may get an appeal through that we want to do something about. Now, we have also supported, I'm going to put a charity in Little Sprouts, and we knitted. And it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out detail, just simply we knitted. Again, that was for the club. Now, over the year, we had 2,500 hours of volunteers. That's a lot of volunteers. Number of recipients known, you probably could fill that in because you know how many beanies, how many fish and chip jumpers, how many blankets, etc. you've knitted. So let's say number of recipients is 1,000. Total number of goods donated. We had over the year 1,000 balls of wool, and we're going to say that each ball of wool was worth $5. That's $5,000 worth of goods donated. And we gave that to Little Sprouts. Now, can you see immediately how this affects the amount of money you give to charity? Because even though that wool has all been donated, it has a value. And that makes a huge difference to how you have done your charitable work. I mean, I could be very exaggerating here, but you know, hey, there are a lot of ladies who do a lot of knitting and do an awful lot for charity. So again, that's the total for the year, but every month I could have just added so many and done it, or left it to the end of the year to complete that in. Now we did, there was an appeal from the Westpac helicopter, let's say. So if I put in there helicopter, is that spelt right? No, never mind. So we didn't actually do anything for this. We actually gave a donation. So in the brief details for activity, you can either put in donation or from charity account. We've done nothing in here because all the money raised that's coming out of the charity account has all been dealt with up here. So we know the hours, the recipients, etc. So here we could put what, let's say we gave them $500. So if it's a simple donation from your charity account, there is no detail in this part of the form, because as I say, it's been dealt with up here. So this bit, the bit that you would have done here, is down here. I hope that makes sense to you all. So also under the family, the Inner Wheel Pub of Upper Hutt used to, we don't anymore, unfortunately, we can't do it. But I'm going to put in there the Cancer Society. And we ran a Daffodil Day shop. And it was run for a week. And we sold daffodils and goods and all sorts of things. It was a club project. So we had so many ladies who manned the shop. It wasn't open all day. I think it opened from about 10 till 2 or 10 till 3. So I'm going to say we had 120 ladies who ran that shop. No idea of the recipients that was just coming in and out, so we can put unknown in there. We did have goods donated because people did baking and they bought in all kinds of things. So I'm going to put $500 in there. But we actually took the takings from the shop for the week were $2,500. That meant overall we gave $3,000 to the charity, to the Cancer Society. It's a shame we no longer do it, but we were, towards the end, there were only 2 Daffodil Day shops left. There were all over the country, and ours was the last to go, but go it did. So if we get down to status for women, perhaps we help the Women's Refuge. And again, we gave a donation. So that was from the charity account. Oh, gosh. So again, it was club. And we go to the end and we did, let's say, $200. Now, we worked for the coronary care unit, and we had a sewing bee. Again, it was the club, and we had 7 ladies who came for 5 hours, so that's 35 hours. And we actually made, I'm taking this from my own experience, we made 32 heart pillows. So we know that we helped 32 people. This is the goods donated. All the fabric we used for the heart pillows was donated, but I worked out it probably cost about $180 worth of fabric. So that's $180 to the coronary heart unit. So what else could we, what about Look Good, Feel Better? Where we do the catering for their workshops. So that's a national project. And we had 3 ladies serving teas for 3 hours. So that's 9 voluntary hours. There were 12 people at the workshop, and all the baking and everything was donated. So I have absolutely no idea. So let's just put $100 in there. And again, 100. Now, I could go on completing this. So there's the section for aging, narcotic drugs, and the Stronger Women. Stronger Women, Stronger World is, I hope you've all read what that's about, but it's achieving more just and equal societies headed with 4 main areas of attention, which is health, education, opportunity, and empowerment. So you can, if you did anything with that. So I mean, I could go on filling this in. You all do an awful lot of charitable work and volunteer hours. I'm going to close this down now, or would you, I can bring it up later, or are there any questions on this before I move on?
Hi, Judi. A couple of questions have come up. First of all, going right back to the movie night, was it? Yeah, the movie night. Yeah. When you said that you sold 40 tickets,
Yeah.
The number of recipients wouldn't just be that 40, because if you're raising the funds for another charity, you don't know how many people that charity is going to be supporting. So would it not be unknown?
Yeah, true. Well done, whoever
That was from Brenda.
brought that up. Yes. Well done, Brenda. Yes, no, that would be unknown. Sorry.
And another question is,
yeah.
when you're doing the catering, when you're catering for an event,
yeah,
would you would include the hours spent doing the baking and making the food as well? So it would probably be, you know, more than the 9 hours. So you'd take into account the amount of time to prepare.
You can do that. Most people don't. They just do it for the amount of time they were actually doing the job in hand. But if you want to take in all the baking,
yes, whether or not. Okay.
Yeah, that's a club decision, really.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay. So I'm just going to show you now. Sorry, I don't want to be too much longer because Michelle is going to do the resources.
It's your time.
I'm just going to show you. Okay. Right. This is the collated service records for last year. So every district gets its own collated service records under each club, one for each district, but then they're collated together. And this is pages and pages and pages. And this is what I do in a night. But I just wanted to take you down to the end. Every district is sent their district collated sheets. But I've lost my, there we go. At the end, it's all collated together into totals. And I just wanted to show you what you do. So these are the volunteer hours, which is over 61,500 hours. Of which the number that we know of, you benefited nearly 6,000 people. Goods donated were just over 200,000. Money raised was just over 90,000. All in all, you gave $279,000 to charity. For a small country with what we now 47 clubs, that is a staggering amount of money and something you all should be extraordinarily proud of. But we don't know that unless you complete the service records. I cannot stress how important they are, and how I hope from what you've seen, they're not that difficult to complete. I guess you just need to understand them. I'll take that off. There is also, if you're in any doubt, a guide. It's on the website. Let me show you that. The service record completion guide. So on the website, there is the guidelines for completion of the service record. And this goes through everything I have just gone through. And it tells you what all the different headings are for, how you work out what you're going to do about donation goods, etc. And then a small example of how to complete one. So that's there for everybody to look at. And I'm hoping that that's just given you a small insight into not feeling that they're just a daunting thing you have to do. Yes, you do have to do them, but they're there for a very specific reason. And we used to call them originally brag sheets. And that's not actually such a bad name. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but it is your way of saying, look what we've done, not just individually, but as a country. And we can't tell that. We can't tell international what we're doing unless we get the information from you. So I hope that's given you a better insight. I hope you won't feel that quite so scary, because every time I ever mention service records, go, oh, no, not service records. Yeah, I just hope you all feel that that was a worthwhile bit of training. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judi. That was great. Has anyone, I see another question has just come up from Jill. She was wondering whether the form was available to be printed off. We're just about to show you exactly where it is on the website, where you can go and download it. And everybody who is a member is able to download it and print it off. That was brilliant to go through the process. So, and even I learned something, so that was great. Are there any other questions before we move on? Okay,
No.
So do feel free to contact Judi if there are problems and questions when your club is filling those in. And I can speak from experience with our club that if you actually take a little bit of time at a club monthly meeting to record the service projects and activities that have happened, it's really useful to do it during the year than waiting until the May meeting and suddenly having to remember everything. Another quick question has come in, and this has come from the Aotea girls. We've been messaging while we've been watching. We've got a question about the wine bottle caps. We just want to know, when you're calculating the cost, do you calculate the cost of the bottle of wine when you for all the caps that you collect?
I would, for the wine bottle caps, again, which we do at Upper Hut, we do them by weight. And if you Google it, you can get the cost of aluminium per weight. No, you don't do it per bottle of wine. I know you Aotea girls would have loads. But no, we do it by weight. So it goes to Kids Can, and you just get the updated price for the aluminium. Okay, so we should look up on the Kids Can website to get that calculator. You can do, or just Google price of aluminium and it'll tell you what it is. Okay, thank you, Judi. So I'm going to leave the service records for a moment. I'm going to take us onto the website, and I'll share my screen now so that we can have a look at what is happening on the website. Just on the wrong page, sorry. When you log into the Inner Wheel New Zealand website, as I've said every time, you need to make sure that you actually log in through the profile picture so that you can access the library. And in the library, this is where all the resources are found. So if you just click on the library tab, it comes up with a landing page with the resources. Or if you scroll down, you can see there is on the tab, there is a button here for the resources. So we have categorized them by, we've got the Inner Wheel New Zealand Bylaws and Constitution as a separate page. So you can download, by clicking on these, you can download the little red book and the International Constitution Handbook. You can download those directly from the website. If you go to the resources section and you go to Club
tools. Now, under club tools, this is where you will find your Inner Wheel New Zealand service record forms. So Judi talked about the guidelines. So underneath is a link to download the guidelines, and on the top is the blank form that when you click on it, it downloads as an Excel spreadsheet. So you're able to get it from there. We also have other tools in the club tool section. If you would like to submit something for the media, there is a form you can download here. There's a press release section. So if your club is doing something and is contacting the local press, this press release actually gives an explanation, or you just download the Word document. It is a press release about what Inner Wheel New Zealand is. So you can use that to give the information to the media, to the journalist, so they get the right facts and figures about who we are, and that will be that's constantly being updated. There's also underneath that, there is Inner Wheel media release training. So that is actually a PowerPoint that our strategy facilitator, Sue, put together to do for a district training for NZ 291 on how to write a press release. And it's actually worth your while going and having a little read of it. It explains to you step by step how to write a really good press release that media might pick up on and use. Then underneath, we've got the badge orders. Now, we have actually just updated this because it used to be a PDF that you downloaded. We've taken exactly the same information off the PDF and we've made it now so that you can order your badges straight on the website. So it's exactly the same information that was in the PDF. So you can see all the costs and all the badges on the side. And then what you just do is you fill out a form on the side to say what it is that you want to order. It takes you through the process. So it takes you through in stages. So when you press next, it will take you to the next page, which asks you to order. Now, you can still see the badges there and you can order directly from the website now. Those will then be emailed to Jocelyn at Riccarton, and the order process will happen as it already currently does. We've just simplified it for people that are using the website to be able to order their badges through. Also under, oops, it's taken me right off there. Under the club tools, we've also got your club history form. At the end of the year, your club is being asked to fill in a club history form. That is currently done as a downloadable. By the end of the year, it might be an online form. This is also where you find the newsletter distribution list. You don't really need that now. That's all under control. A contact list for all of the club accounts. We've put on here where you can download this image if you want to use it as an email signature, a letterhead that clubs could use for the year, and these are where you can get the social project campaigns, some information on those that was sent to us from the International President, EB. So that's under club tools. If we go back to the resource section, we also have an area for membership. So on there, there's information about the membership toolkit that was created. You can download it here, and you can download the meetings toolkit. explains about the membership pass campaign, and so it gives you, if you read through and click on the buttons, it gives you some more information. And members at large, you are able to download a members at large application form from there. Everywhere that it goes blue with an underline means that that's a link. So if you click on that, that links you to something. So we also have the resource manuals. So we've got the club resource manual. These are on these blue buttons. If you click that, it will take you to the club resource manuals. These are invaluable. They have so much information. Anything you need to know about Inner Wheel and running your club is found there on the in the resource manual. In the club one, there is a district resource manual and there's a national resource manual. We also have the history of Inner Wheel, and again, you can get the bylaws and the international constitutions directly from there. Then we have nomination forms. So people are looking at national and district nominations at the moment. If you want to, you can go straight to the website and download the nomination forms from there. When you click on the link, it will download onto your computer. You can also make nominations for the Marguerite Golding Awards. Now, this is an international Inner Wheel award. So the nomination needs to be completed and sent to national for us to sign and send to international. So all the explanations and the information about the Marguerite Golding Awards are there. When you click on the nomination form, it downloads the information that you need regarding Marguerite Golding Awards. What else do we have? We have under the national strategy, these were the priorities that were set from the discussion workshop we ran at the national conference in Queenstown. You can download the actual document. You can download a PowerPoint that Sue put together updating us where we were at in May 2021. You can download all of the posters that we used for discussion activities. They're there on the website for you to use and print off for you to use in your clubs. All sorts of resources. We also have links to the international branding. So there's the branding guidelines that have come from International Inner Wheel. It takes you to where you can download the logos. So you're using the official logos. We have some information about the family tree, a bit about how Inner Wheel works. These are all works, and we're actually getting a whole lot of new promotional material created at the moment. The latest thing we've done is a QR code. So if anybody wants a QR code to put on bookmarks or on business cards or any material, you can just copy that, save the image, right click to save the image, and you can save the QR code and you can use that on your material. So we then have in the resource section a bit about the Google accounts. Now, Ariel, our administrator, got a lot of questions about how to set up and how to use the Google accounts. This is a brilliant first stop place to go to ask if you have any questions. And she has done it all in pictorial form and laid it all out clearly, hopefully, for you to follow through step by step to help you access and understand the use of your Google accounts for your clubs. So that's the resource section. I wonder, I'm going to stop sharing now. I wonder, are there any questions? You can unmute yourself and ask. Okay. I hope that you can see that we've been spending a lot of time updating the resource section on the website so that it is all there for you as members to be able to just go to it to find the things that you need. Everything is downloadable for you as a member. Every member has access to all of those documents, and we are adding more as we get them. So as documents are updated, we're updating them online. As we're creating new ones, they're being created and put online. So if you have anything that you would like us to put online, so if you have some great ideas of information or things that you would like to see, please drop us an email and we'll do everything we can to try and create that, to add it to the online resources. I don't really have anything else to add at the moment, so I'm going to open the floor to anyone that would like to say anything.
Michelle, just one thing I just wanted to mention, that when you click on a link to download a document, if you don't know what's happening, nothing appears to be happening. It appears down in the bottom of the screen. I just think it's a good point to make, that look on the bottom of the screen for that downloaded document.
Yes, so it downloads directly onto your computer. So we've set it so that you can still see the page, so you can go and download more things rather than taking you to a new window. So yes, it does. It appears right down the bottom of your computer screen. So it is there. And if you go to if you can't find it, you go to your downloads and you'll see it, or otherwise once it appears along like a bottom tab along your computer screen, you can click on it to open it and save it into a folder that you have on your files. Thank you for making that clear, Debbie. Any other questions, queries, concerns? Mary? You raised your hand? No? You need to unmute yourself. No?
Going back to the service record.
Yes.
That's right. What about people who are not the will members who do knitting for us? Can that amount of time be included?
I would say yes. If you are getting knitting, oh, sorry, Judi, you're.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because they're not Inner Wheel members, as long as they're working for Inner Wheel, that's absolutely fine. Add them to your service record.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else got a question? This is your time. Ladies in South Wairarapa, you're all up to date. It was good for you?
It's been very good. Thank you very much, Judi and Michelle. We've taken lots of notes and we're going to be following up on a lot of things in the very near future.
Brilliant. I'm going to just wrap up the recording, but I want you all to stay online because I'm going to come back to you. So for those people that have been watching this recording, thank you for watching it all the way through. And I hope that you find the resource really useful to be able to come back to look and see how to fill in the forms, or just to see what's happening on the website. Just remember though, the resource section is going to be changing regularly. So if you have a look at it today, it might be different again next week. So do just keep coming back in case you don't know, in case something has appeared on the resource section. So I'm just going to sign off with the recording now. Thank you.